Jennifer to the Rescue. I'm Jennifer Johnson, and we are here every week. And where is here? We are at the beautiful Wofford Theater here in Noblesville. And we thank you very much to Logan Street Signs and Banners for being our wonderful sponsors. Every Tuesday, we come in at noon. I have to always remind myself it's Tuesday, not Wednesday. We used to do Wednesday. But we're just happy to bring wonderful people, as you will find out here in just a minute, to you to share, and hopefully I'll make a connection. And what does Jennifer to the Rescue do? Oh my goodness. Do you really want to know? Okay, well, my mission is to provide effective resources that drive performance, produce clarity and direction through networking, training, appreciation, and multimedia solutions, which happens to be the whole way that Hamilton County Television and Radio fits into the whole thing. Nice. We are really excited. You can always check out jennifertotherescue.com for more information. But this is What's with Bethel, or what's going on at Bethel week of the month. And Joe Rudy,
that's me,
with Bethel Lutheran Church, is our wonderful guest today. And you happen to be our youth minister and leader.
Correct.
Right?
That's right.
Yes. And how are you?
I'm doing well. And you?
Good.
Nice.
Good. Yes, we've been talking, so I already knew he was doing fine. And Joe is here every month. We take one of our shows and just talk about what's happening at Bethel Lutheran Church. And you've got a list, but before we go into the list, let's just talk about who is Joe Rudy. Who is Joe Rudy?
Who is Joe Rudy? That's the question. So, well, my name is Joe Rudy, and I'm married. I have a wife. Her name is Tree, and we have 2 kids, Max and Aubrey. And we've lived in Noblesville, for probably 15, 17 years, somewhere around there. And I've been a social worker for most of my life down in Indianapolis, working with clients with developmental disabilities. Mm-hmm. And for the past 5 years or so, I've been on staff at Bethel Lutheran Church as our youth pastor and as the property manager, which is an interesting combination, but works really, really well for me and for my family, and I believe for our congregation. So we've lived in a house on 10th Street that we renovated here in town in Noblesville the past few years, which we are really fond of and feel very blessed to be in this community.
It's a nice location.
Nice.
I mean, I've never been in the house, but I always think, boy, that looks like it'd be great.
It is. It's pretty sweet. We really like sitting there. We spend some time on the porch and like to have friends over as often as possible and watch the cars go by and all that. It's pretty great. My wife teaches first grade at Hamilton Heights up north, and my son Max is a sophomore this year, which is just
when you say
blowing my mind.
Because you talked about it the other day in church, I think, something about your kids, and I'm like, really? You got a sophomore already?
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Goodness.
Yeah, Aubrey's in 8th grade this year, so it's pretty nuts.
I hate to tell you, but they grow up and then they move off places unknown. But now, just real quick question: Is Tree's name Tree?
That's a great question. She her birth name is Trisha. Trisha Ellen,
okay.
Right? Tricia. But ever since she was a kid, she climbed trees all the time.
Oh.
And so her whole family referred to her as Tree Bug, and that she would climb trees and be all over the place. And it just kind of stuck. And so all of her friends knew her as Tree.
Well, that's kind of cool. Now I know the secret. Because I was always wondering if it was like Trisha or Teresa or whatever. Right. And gosh, that is really cool.
Yeah.
So it's 5 years. I feel like you guys have been members at Bethel for a long time.
It's probably closer to 10 years that we've been members at Bethel, and it was, I think Max was like 3 years old or something like that, maybe closer to 5. But we church shopped all over the place, and when we had a house and our first home that we had here in Noblesville, we wanted to find a church community that we could become a part of, and something that we could raise our kids in, and we went all over the place. So many different churches in town that were all really, really great, and for one reason or another just didn't fit. It just didn't make the connection for us. And so our neighbors at the time that lived right behind us, the Braggs, lived right behind us, and they invited us to Bethel. We would pass our kids over the fence, back and forth, so they'd play with each other. And they invited us to Bethel. They said, you should come over to Bethel sometime. And we did. And when we walked in the door, something just clicked, and it just made sense. And so that fit really well for us. I started singing in choir, and then before I knew it, I was sitting on council and
Yes, I know how
really
that goes.
enjoyed it. Right, absolutely, and loved it. And then Shelley Smith, who was the director at the time, she and I worked together, and I was doing whatever I could just to hang out with the youth. And our kids were young, and so the Wii was fresh out, and so was Guitar Hero, and anything that we could do to hang out and be closer to the kids at the time. And it just kind of evolved, and it turns out that God was calling me to be at Bethel, and it has been quite the ride ever since. But a very, very much a blessing for us and our family.
Well, I could say from a congregation standpoint, we're very glad you're there.
Thanks. Yes. Thank you very much.
And I'm trying to keep track of the years because I have 3 kids that spent some time.
That's right, a little bit.
They're kind of on the older end,
Right.
but they know you very well, and I know your job includes an awful lot. Before we go, we're not done yet, but tell us what's the website?
Our website is BethelLutheranChurch.com. Pretty simple. BethelLutheranChurch.com. And then my email, for whatever reason, if anybody needed to contact me, was Rudy at Bethel Lutheran Church.
So it's all okay. Yeah. So it's all written out, and so if you ever want to, you can actually email you directly,
Absolutely.
or they can check the website for anything that we're talking about today. And then, what's pressing? What's happening about? We're going to come back in a few minutes and talk a lot more about. But what? Well, maybe what we should do before we transition into the. Tell us, then you're also the property director?
Right.
Or is that the name of the position?
Yeah, property manager, director, same thing. And so it's anything that goes on. We have 30 acres up at Bethel at 206 in Cumberland. So
that was the other question.
Right,
Where is the address for it's
right on the corner, right, at 206 in Cumberland, and we have quite the facility there. And there's a lot of volunteer coordinating and making sure that we get people to help out, and a lot of people want to help and plant things and cut grass and shovel snow and all those kind of things.
They want to do that?
Absolutely. There's a lot of people that really want to do that,
That's good people.
Absolutely right. There's a handful of them. So I try to manage that as best I can, and then we have contractors, things like that we bring in for lots of other things, heating and air and plumbing and electrical and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I know from our conversation even before this show today, I know you've got your hand on so many different things, and you brought some events, and we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna come back and talk with Joe about what is going on. You can find out when the services are, all that kind of stuff, and you can call Bethel at 317-773-4315. Joe's extension happens to be 12.
Number 12.
But you would you can also go, I think John Patterson, he would probably be able to answer some questions for you too. But we will be right back. You're not going anywhere, right?
All right. I'll stay right here. That's good.
We'll be right back, and we'll hear what's going on at Bethel Lutheran Church this month.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Welcome back to Jennifer to the Rescue. I always bring these things, I just feel like I'm the cavalry riding in with, and everybody wants to know what's going on in our community and at Bethel. I'm Jennifer Johnson. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Logan Street Signs and Banners for being our wonderful sponsors every week, so we can come in here and share these wonderful resources in our community. And Joe happens to be the spokesperson for Bethel today. So
That's right.
we were just talking about Joe and how he ended up, his family, and how they ended up at Bethel. And have you lived in? Did you grow up in Ohio, in Indiana? Or?
I was born and raised on the north side of Indianapolis. My grandparents lived up here on the lake in Morris when they retired in the early 80s, late 70s. Bethel or Noblesville was always kind of like a vacation spot almost for us.
Really?
As kids growing up.
Right.
Weekends and
Sure.
summers, right.
Sure. So now it has like, oh, how cool! You've made it your home then.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we were talking about your job and how you do. I don't know how you do everything, but you're always in a good mood. So thank you for smiling and
Yeah.
coming and sharing these
You're welcome.
great things. Tell us what's going on at Bethel Lutheran Church. And
Well-
it is at the corner of 206 and Cumberland.
Right.
It's a beautiful church. Sits there with a big steeple.
That's right.
And we invite people. You don't have to
That's
be a
right.
member to come in and check
Don't
any
have
of
to be
this
a member.
out.
Come on
Yeah.
in. That's right. Well, we've got our normal service times, right? Saturday evening, 5:30 in the evening
Not
on
a lot
Saturday.
of churches have Saturday services.
Right, and then we do 3 on Sunday, so we've got 8 o'clock, 9:30, and 11. And then back to school, everything's kind of fired back up. So our Sunday school classes have just started this past Sunday. Our Sunday school hour for all of our kids and a couple of adult Sunday school classes is at 9:30 in the morning. So you can either come to worship at 8 and go to Sunday school at 9:30, or you can go to Sunday school at 9:30 and worship at 11, or even come to the Saturday night and come back on Sunday if you want to do 2 days, which is cool.
And just so people know, the 8 o'clock service is kind of a 8 a.m. on Sunday is
Right.
kind of traditional. The Saturday is a little.
It's a little more laid back, so it's an acoustic guitar version, right? So it's almost like a country kind of a feel to it, country folk kind of a feel to the service itself, a little looser. 9:30 is kind of a blended, right? So it's you still have some organ music and some hymnals type stuff, but there's some piano music and things like that. And then the 11 o'clock service is our praise service, so we have a band.
And he might look kind of familiar because he's actually leads the praise group, don't you?
That's right.
So,
Yeah, we have a fun time with that.
Yeah. So if you are looking for a church, Bethel really has a little bit of, has a lot to offer.
Right.
4 services is kind of rare, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
And the 5:30, I go to a 5:30 a lot on Saturdays because it just works
Saturday's
into my
nice.
schedule.
Yeah,
you know.
sometimes it's very nice.
And I know sometimes the numbers are, certain times a year it's gigantic, but they're still there.
That's right.
There's somebody still
That's
doing
right.
it. Okay.
That's right.
So, got those services. What else we got?
Sunday school, like I said, was back up,
Yes.
and that's really exciting and a fun time for us. So our confirmation class, which is our middle school group, that's all started back up again. And then the big thing for us that's coming up is Bethel Lutheran University, and we oftentimes refer to that as BLU. And this year, and this particular season that we're starting back up in September, I think it's the 9th, we start on the 9th of September and goes through October 14th, and those are Wednesday evenings for BLU. And that's at 7 o'clock at night until about 8:15. And they're doing a series by Rick Warren called Better Together, and it's creating loving and lasting relationships. So there will probably be 3 to 4 different adult groups that meet and discuss that topic and work through the curriculum for that on Wednesday nights. So that's pretty cool.
So that wasn't, I guess I'm just because I'm a member. Was that something where they were going to go out and do something?
It's just like it's an adult Bible study with a focus.
So they're not necessarily
on that lesson.
going out into the community to do anything.
Not necessarily. They may,
They
but
could
it just
as an
depends.
out.
Right, depends on what they do. And then it'll change after October 14th, and we'll get into the Advent season, and we get into holidays, which is crazy to even think about.
I know.
But then following the new year, then we'll start up BLU again, and then we'll have different classes. So we try to offer a variety of classes. This particular fall is we're focusing in on one
It's very cool.
section, right?
Very
Which will guide our sermon sermon series, and Pastor Doug and Pastor Martin.
No, not yet. So not to trick you or to give you an answer or question you might not know the answer to, but they can go to BethelLutheranChurch.com
Right.
and see the information on the Bethel Lutheran University.
Correct.
And then they could sign up, right? Don't they have to register? Or they don't have to register,
Don't
I
have to,
suppose.
right? But that's
it-
a place that you can do it, right?
and
Absolutely.
just a question, because we always like to have food. Do they have food before it or something?
At the very least, we'll have coffee fellowship. So I don't think you can do any Lutheran function without having cookies and coffee.
I was going to
right?
say,
So-
Lutherans,
right.
we have to have
Right,
food.
at the very least. So I'm sure somebody will bring some deviled eggs or Jello mold or something. Right, it'll be great. Yeah,
But
it'll be
so
great.
usually there's something there between 6 and 7, probably.
Most likely.
But you
yes.
can always call Bethel
Yeah.
and ask them 317-773-4315. Okay,
right.
go ahead.
That's right.
What else is going on?
So then, we again with the school year starting back up, and selfishly, since I do the high school youth, we have our midweek is what we call it. So our high school youth, which is grades 9 through 12, we meet on Wednesday nights. It's the same time as BLU for the most part, but for midweek we do 6:30 to 8:30, and that's in the evening time. And like I said, grades 9 through 12. We've got 3 or 4 adult leaders that help out with that. I'm one of them, and my wife is one, and then Dustin Pritch and Chris Byerly. We have a really great core group. We have anywhere from 15 to 20 high schoolers that come into that on a regular basis. And then midweek for us is a comfortable place where kids can come and be themselves, and we talk about anything and everything. So it always has a faith base to it, but we'll talk about the current events that are going on in the world today. We'll talk about sexuality. We'll talk about drugs, sex, and rock and roll. I mean, everything that's in there.
Right.
And it's a safe place, so we try to pull judgment out of that and try to make sure that kids feel comfortable. So it's a pretty important.
Was
pretty important
midweek
piece.
going on before you took?
Absolutely.
It
yeah.
was, but because my kids hung out at midweek too. It's so funny to think
Yeah.
my kids aren't kids anymore.
Right, absolutely. So it's our youth group, right? It's Bethel's
Yeah.
youth group. But we have, it's kind of surprising, there's probably 7 kids that come to midweek that their parents, and there's no involvement at a church level on a Sunday worship time, but they come to midweek because that's where they feel like they can fit in. And so sometimes it's just that. It's a place for kids to get their church on a Wednesday night and really kind of get their faith dose and start building those foundations.
So what a big responsibility
Absolutely.
to.
Absolutely.
And if it wasn't happening, boy, I mean, some of those kids might not have. They obviously wouldn't.
They've got it rough, even though their lives seem pretty awesome, going through high school and the transition and their brains,
Right.
it's a little crazy. So it's just an opportunity for them to feel a part of something. And things are so hectic with just the social media and all that kind of stuff. There's an awful lot going on. So we try to really just kind of calm things down for a little bit and just be a part of that. In addition to that, we'll do service projects and try to get out in the community and help out as best we can. We've done a couple of, at least one, but work on some grants through United Way, the Youth as Resources, and worked with Janus Developmental Centers on,
Yeah.
on building workbenches and things like that. So we try to help out and do stuff and fit in where we can.
Well, we are going to take another break, and we're going to come back because we know there's more happening at Bethel. I mean, it's so cool to have these different perspectives of
Nice.
what's going on. So we'll be right back with Joe Rudy, youth minister at Bethel Lutheran Church.
Bye-bye.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Well, as always, this show has just gone really, really fast today, and we're already at our third segment here, and we're visiting with Joe Rudy from Bethel Lutheran Church, youth pastor and minister and leader and property manager. Holy cow, but we know we're in good hands, you know. We are here at Jennifer to the Rescue, and you can certainly check that out at jennifertotherescue.com. That is my website, and I'm Jennifer Johnson. One more time, thank you, Logan Street Signs and Banners, for having us in. We always love coming in, and you just never know what the show's going to turn out like, because I never know what I'm going to say. But Joe, you've been telling us all about what's happening at Bethel Lutheran Church.
Yeah.
This is September's installment. I can't believe it. It's already September 1st. So what else we got going? We were talking about midweek, and
Right.
you were talking about Bethel Lutheran University.
Absolutely. So we also have, fairly recent, in the past 5 years or so, we've built on a Christian education building. And so we started a preschool there in the first floor. And so the preschool is starting back up on the 8th of September. And those are kids ages 18 month to 36 month. And Chris Lingenfelter is our Christian Education Director. I believe Chris has been on the show before.
Yes, she's been on the show, yep.
Absolutely. So the preschool is starting back up, which is a big deal for us. It's really, really nice. We have a lot of activity that's in the building during the day, which is really something to have all those kids around. But that's about 9 in the morning till 11:30. There are a few spots open, I know that, for the preschool, and not many, but a few. And so we do whatever we can to make sure that preschool is available to kids. So even if finance reasons keeps you from putting your kid or your grandchild or anything like that into preschool, you should very much come talk to us, and we can probably figure something out.
So what's the website one more time so they know, and then...
Our website is BethelLutheranChurch.com, and the phone number of the church is 317-773-4315. We've got the newest thing that is coming to Bethel is the Women's Bible Study Fellowship, and that's a big deal.
My gosh.
I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't know about it before, but BSF is a national women's group that meets, and they have started to branch out from their Zionsville group, and they are coming to Bethel, which is really great. Bible Study Fellowship is going to start meeting on September 15th. And that's at 7 in the evening till about 8:40 in the evening.
What day of the week is that?
I believe that's
is that a Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tuesday evening, right, from 7 till 8:40, and starting on September 15th. And that will occupy the second floor of our education building. It's over there, all the different classrooms that we have.
Wow.
And there's a large group of women that are coming to that, and it is expected to grow. So if anybody's interested or wants to try that out, I would highly recommend that. I don't remember their website, but Bible Study Fellowship. If you Googled it, you'd probably find it.
And you'd probably be able to find something on the on Bethel
Yeah,
Lutheran
absolutely.
Church's website.
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely. So that started back up. The fish fry's coming up. That's Dan's Fish Fry. That's September 25th. And I think we kind of generically said the time frame of 5 to 8, but there's more information that's out there for that.
We'll have something on my Thursday show. We'll have actually Bob Hansen's going to join us on that date. So the Dan's Fish Fry, you got to plan for that.
That's right.
September 25th. Okay.
25th, I think.
And what else? Anything?
Let's see. What else? We've got a bonfire that's coming up. That'll be
Hey.
in October. That's a little bit later, but it's coming, whether we like it or not.
Well,
and
it's September 1st.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
October 10th for the Bethel bonfire. That'll be fun. We've got a fire pit and a picnic shelter, some Eagle Scout projects that were made some time ago, and so we have some land out there that we like to use.
Well, you
and get
did
out
say
and
at the
check it out.
beginning, you said 30 acres?
Yeah, we have 30 acres in total. It's pretty crazy. So we have about 10 to 15 acres that we cut that is grass, and then we're wrapped by a large L-shaped cornfield that's ours that we lease out, and that's all corn. So it's kind of nice once you get back there in the wedge. We have a bonfire, fire pit, and the picnic shelter that's about the size of one that's at Forest Park. And so it's pretty good size, and it's a great space back there. It's nice and quiet. And,
It is a great
it's really
space
something.
for a bonfire
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
whatever. Yeah,
Absolutely.
or a sunrise service.
That's
on
right,
Easter
on
morning.
Easter morning. That's right.
Because that's what we love is to go out there. So, got anything else? I know we do this every month, and we try to keep people up. You have
That's
a couple
right.
things that are still out there to.
The Sausage and Scripture group, that's a men's morning group that meets on Saturdays at 7:30 in the morning, and that's pretty cool. Even if you wanted to come in and get your egg casserole fix, I'm sure those guys would welcome you in on that, which is cool. And then on October 18th, there's a healing service that's going to come over at Bethel, and that'll be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that sounds like it could be something very powerful if you've got time to come over and experience.
Well, and we would, in the breaks and before the show, I guess the big thing, I'm a member of Bethel. I've been there for longer than I want to admit,
That's
because
right.
then that tells me how old I am. But Bethel's been wonderful for us, and we had 3 kids that, did all these things. But the neat thing about Bethel is you don't have to be a member
Right.
to come out and check us out.
Correct.
One more time, tell us when the services are.
Right, so Saturday evening at 5:30, and then on Sunday, 8 a.m., 9:30, and 11. We have all those service options available.
So you go to the Saturday evening, it's a little laid-back country kind of feel, and you can come in your shorts and, feel very casual, whereas the 8 a.m. service on Sunday is a little more, actually the most traditional service we
Right,
have.
right.
And then the 9:30 is a little blended. It's
Right.
starting to get a little bit more
Little
Christian,
loose, right.
a little looser. And then you bring in the
That's right.
praise group, and I'm
That's
just
right.
joking.
No,
But the 11 o'clock service is a typical,
Yeah.
is not typical. It's a great praise service because we have Joe Rudy at
Sure.
the helm
Yeah.
of the praise band, and I just think it's cool because my story, you're telling your story about how you got to Bethel. We were invited through our neighbor,
There you
and
go.
our kids actually both went to the Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
And our son said, "You got to check this out." Well, I don't even know how old Adam was at the time, but it was just like you walk in the door, and there's just something different. Now, that was when Bethel wasn't actually where they are. They were
Right,
actually
came from
out
Cicero.
in Cicero.
Right.
But they were about to move to the new location. So I don't know how many years have they
We've been
at
on the
new-
corner of 206 and Cumberland since 1998. I think that's when the church finally came over, and that was before we
That was
joined
just
as well.
yesterday.
Right, that was just yesterday.
It was
Absolutely.
just yesterday.
But Bethel's a 100-plus-year-old congregation, so we've been around for a long time.
Yeah, so there's a lot that you can learn about Bethel Lutheran Church on the website, bethellutheranchurch.com. You can certainly call or
Sure.
email Joe
Sure.
at Joe Rudy
That's right.
at Bethel Lutheran Church.
You got it.
Okay. You have a joke for us?
I do.
Closing?
I
always
do.
call it upbeat. I like to leave people with
do.
an upbeat.
I do. So I swim. I like to swim, and in the morning times there's a couple that is in the pool when I go to swim, and the guy's name is Charlie, and his wife's name is Sheila, and Charlie stops swimming at the end of the lane. And he says, "Joe, do you know the difference between a hippo and a zippo?" And I kind of look at him and I said, "Well, I think I do." And he goes, "Well, one's heavy and the other's a little lighter."
So what a great note to we have a light, carefree attitude here. We're just glad you could come this month, and we'll
Thank
hopefully get you back again because you do bring a different perspective with all your youth involvement and the
Cool.
property, and we just are so happy to have somebody here from Bethel. So we're
Nice.
happy it was you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks for
we
having me.
will see you well, actually, I'll be on Thursday. You can check out the Hometown Scene with Jenny Yes, it really is. It's me. It's not. But anyway, it's on Thursday at 1, and then you can certainly check it out on demand. We'll see you, as far as Jennifer to the Rescue, next Tuesday. So have a great holiday weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.